We're poor, Ashe.
Ashe.
We're poor to the creative spirit, the great Ashe, out of which we all emerge, Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to that creative spirit by whatever name we know it, whatever name you hold in your heart, in your mind, whatever name your ancestors gave, whatever name you learned as a child, whatever name you believe it to be, whatever name you believe it to be in spirit or in science, Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to the first human beings who came into existence on this planet, the first human beings who raised the first structures, who cooked the first meals, who taught the first children, who had the first children, the first Africans, the first people, who stood upright, who walked, who figured out how to stay on this planet, who figured out how to pass that knowledge on to their children and their children's children, the mothers and fathers of civilization, Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour the next libation to their grandchildren and their children's children, those who raised the great early civilizations of Kemet and Kush and Monomotapa, the great medieval civilizations of Ghana and Mali and Songhai and Kanem Bornu. We pour to those who the great civilizations of the Igbo people and the Hausa people and the Kikongo people and the Mambara people, the great Mande civilizations, the great Kikongo, the great civilizations of Southern Africa, the Bantu people, the great civilizations of Southeast Africa, the Dinka, the Shilluk, the Noor. We pour to those millions who raised the foundations from which the world would learn what it meant to be human in the world, Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to their children who upon the arrival on the shores of people they had never seen before, found themselves captured and marched overland, found themselves perishing by the millions before they were held on the holding cells and the open air pens on the coast of West, Central, Southern, and East Africa. We pour to the ancestors who did not know as they were stripped of all clothing and sent denuded into boats, packed like animals, and strewn their bones across the floor of the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. We pour to them who in the last moment on Africa grabbed the sand and grabbed the dirt and put it in their mouths and understood that the only thing they might have to preserve their place in that continent was their memory of that place and their ability to pass it on to their children. We pour to them, Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to those Africans and their children who finding themselves cast adrift in Santiago, Cuba, who found themselves cast adrift in Porta, Spain, Trinidad, and Port-au-Prince, Haiti, who found themselves cast adrift in New Orleans and Charleston and Mobile, who found themselves cast adrift in Salvador, Bahia, who found themselves cast adrift in Barbados and the archipelago that formed the wayward and the windward coast. We found them in these places learning Portuguese and Spanish and French, whose often first words was, "Oh my God, oh Madre de Dios," who found themselves praying to survive and pass on to their children the memories. We pour to those ancestors who are represented in the thousands buried in all the square miles of where we stand, and who sit here buried before us in 400 caskets forged of wood from West Africa with Adinkra symbols. Each one of them, each woman, man, and child, symbolic of millions. The children of those who could not be killed, we pour, Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to their children who somehow survived the hells of enslavement and fought for emancipation in the Caribbean, the French, British, Dutch Caribbean, who fought for emancipation in South America, who fought for emancipation in Central America, who fought the struggles we refer to as the Civil War in the United States, who came out of that, marched out of enslavement through Reconstruction, and found themselves making great migrations, eventually ending up in places like New York. Their children's children, who making a way for themselves became our great-great-grandparents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our parents. Those who, when the first bones were discovered in this space, held their hands and said, "Stop! No more!" We are here to speak for those who can no longer speak with their mouths. We pour for those ancestors, some of whom came to Howard University in 2004 and followed these caskets all the way back to New York. We pray to the great ancestors, the ones whose names we know and the ones whose names we don't. And at this moment, as we pour this libation, I would ask anyone who feels comfortable to say the name of someone in your bloodline who is no longer physically here, but who you know made it possible for you to be here. Go ahead, let's hear the names. Haywood Carr,
Porter Griffin,
Thomas E. Jr.,
Evelyn Glover.
We pour to the names that we hold collectively. Danga Zumba in Brazil, Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Henri Christophe in Haiti. We pour to the great avengers, Nanny of the Maroons of Jamaica. We pour to the great ancestors, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass. Say the names that you study. Who are the names of the ancestors that you have come to hold in your heart and your mind as you hope that you can do what they did for us, for your children and children's children? Let's say some of those famous names. Malcolm X, Abdul Hamer, John Henry Clark, Jonathan Jackson, Jacob Carruthers. And finally, two final libations. We pour to those who make it possible for us to do what we do. We pour to these rangers who stand guardian over this sacred space. We pour to these Africans and these folks who have come from Howard University, the staff, the faculty, the administrators who brought us here today to bear witness. This is not a libation, but an affirmation, because their hearts still beat, their tongues still speak, their minds still think, and their minds still wish the best for us. We pour for all of those people who surrounded us on this journey today and made it possible for us to be here. We pour this affirmation of thanks, Ashe.
Ashe.
And finally, we pour to your children's children's children who will one day stand on this space and speak your name. Ashe.
Ashe.
How you design those programs. In all of the programs that I attended, all of the education that I had, college, public, and otherwise, nobody ever told me that I was an African woman. Nobody ever told me what the history of African people were. Nobody ever told me that America is business, and without business you will have nothing and be nothing. And nobody ever told me how to organize business so that I would be able to develop institutions in my own community. So now the sincerity of all of the programs and all of the education has to be questioned, indicted, and convicted, because the bottom line is that America is not and has never tried to produce African adults who are functional, self-sufficient, who understand their politics, their economics, and their relationship to the world politics and the world economics.
With the NAACP, the Urban League, and the traditional We Shall Overcome civil rights leaders of the 50s and 60s that have been all but abandoned and ignored by younger people, Sister Soldier included.
I think that the dice are loaded, and that's what's left out of Mr. Brown's piece. See, there was a period of time in this country after Reconstruction where African people owned a lot of land, owned a lot of businesses, and did a lot of things. But what happened was the American government, the Ku Klux Klan, and other organizations organized in smashing that effort. So it's not that we haven't tried to own lands and have not organized businesses. It's that if you are African in America, or in Latin America, or in the Caribbean, or in the continent, you will be hunted no matter what you do, because they do not want us to survive and become self-sufficient. And you can say no, but you haven't lived this life. You haven't lived this life.
And to be happy. I'm talking about that. All right. Now, to paraphrase Senator Bradley of New Jersey, the state from which your piece was.
Senator Bradley gets much right when he talks.
He does, and he, among other things, and he's not claiming to be particularly original with the observation, we can't get there unless we go together. I have a terrible feeling that behind me are some people who do not agree.
Senator Bradley of the all-white United States Senate said we can't get there unless we all go there together. Sorry, none of us are where he is. That's number one. Number two, you're making a moral appeal to a country that doesn't have a moral conscience. The question becomes that when white people feel serious and angry and upset about abortion, they come out in the thousands up to the millions to say, this is what we believe about abortion. Where is the white outcry against white racism that murders African people all around this entire globe? It doesn't exist. So who are these white good people? I want to meet them. I want to see them. A few is not enough.
But that might be all we can get.
No. And guess what? I don't work with all I can get. What I work with is what I have. Listen, you have to have some confidence in the power of African people amongst ourselves to establish a foundation.
We have.
No, we haven't. We have utter chaos. chaos in our cities, and you got
There's
to
no
see
black
that.
institutions we
You
can
can
build?
have a program.
Black church?
I'm not saying we've built a lot of institutions, and those institutions have not been effective. The majority of millions of African youth in this country are dying mentally, dying spiritually, dying emotionally, dying academically, and you may have a program, Mr. Brown may have a program, but what we got to talk about is an American government that tracks millions of African people who don't go to your program, don't go to Brown's program, millions of African people, not only here, but all around the world. And if we are not honest enough to say who are our friends, who are our enemies, to know what a friend is, to know what an enemy is, we will constantly be trying to get into people's parties, to shake our butts with them, to get them to like us, and that's not the question. The question is, what can we build amongst ourselves to secure ourselves from our enemies so that we will be able to survive into the future?
Mayor Kelly.
It's enough to know that if I walk out Washington, D.C. tonight, some black kid in Washington, D.C. is blowing up another black kid's head for a pair of sneakers because the institutions that we're talking about, not the things that we hold up to say, look, this is one example. The institutions that we're talking about are not saving the minds of those African children. That is the honest truth. None of these Negroes saved me. None of these Negroes. Your mother didn't help save you. None of them. Listen, you know who saved me? A man named John Desane in Englewood, New Jersey, who told me who I was, who showed me my history, who told me who my enemies were, who let me know that this was not an easy world, who let me know that this was a cold environment, who let me know that what he's not a part of is dilly-dallying with the minds of African children and letting them know what the real situation is in America.
Brothers and sisters, we have work to do, and no one will do it for us. If we are to achieve what we want, we have to earn it. Earning it requires taking one step at a time. There are no shortcuts. We cannot erase our reality of being nearly 400 years behind economically, and we are not going to get out of this mess overnight. We cannot skip through the process. We'll have to go through the pain of struggle, the learning curve. Earning it will require that we do something we have not been able to master, that is working together through functional unity. In response to H. Rap Brown's comment, if America doesn't come around, we're going to burn it down, Dr. King responded with, our slogan must not be burn, baby, burn. It must be build, baby, build. Organize, baby, organize. Our slogan must be learn, baby, learn, so we can earn, baby, earn. If we are to make Dr. King's statement a reality, we need to organize because the issues we face today are surprisingly greater in many respects than those in 1967 when he made this statement. We must have functional unity. The black community currently dominates in every negative demographic: poverty, incarceration, health, academic achievement, unemployment, and underemployment, while being almost invisible in every positive demographic: job and business creation, wealth, income, business growth, both representing extreme levels of disparities. For example, disparities generally allow a margin of error of 2 to 3 percentage points. But the African American community is experiencing a 10 to 30% point differential. Where unemployment could be 7% nationally, with African American men between the ages of 18 and 35, unemployment could be as high as 50%. This is an alarming disparity and creates major consequences to the fabric of both family and community life for the entire black community. These type of disparities will require new and different approaches unlike anything we have seen to date. In addition, most of these disparities will only worsen over the next 15 to 20 years because the pipeline is primed at the start of the continuum, coupled with the reality that the black community has no stated, viable, and sustained plan of action or defense. If we work together, we must ask ourselves if our individual efforts really change these issues and move the needle. If you're honest, you must answer no. Then what do? The abnormal disparities that the black community suffers from will require major efforts to combat. Correcting these issues will require a unified and comprehensive approach, not an individual or silo solution.
Welcome to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice. That was our very own Kian, who brought you in with a piece from, I believe, last week's article, Universally Speaking, message to the community. It's all about functional unity. It's all about organizing. I am your co-host, Ptosha, with the P, Davis. I'm here, a little under the weather, but we're going to knock it out. I want to thank Keon for holding it down for me last Friday. And we have our host, Rahim, is in the studio. If you'd like to call in and join the conversation, you can call in at 414-444-5250. That's 414-444-5250. Or you can also join in on the conversation on our Facebook page, Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam. Rahim, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm doing a little bit better than you are. My sister's under the weather here, so we're gonna have to, try to compensate for her. But I'm doing fine, thank you. I was listening to the Sister Soldier piece.
Gangster,
Yeah. But I think it's been an argument that, pretty much was written in this article. How do we get traction? How do we get moving? What does it look like? It's obvious we have difference of opinions and different perspectives and different ways. But I think fundamentally that, one, we must understand and recognize the challenge that we have inherited. And that's the first thing. All right. So and I speak about it when I say, in statistical language, they usually have the differential of 2 to 3 percentage points,
and we've blown that completely out of the water.
you have strategies when
those are if you're dealing with 2 to 3%,
within the era of margins,
but when you're dealing with
30-40% differentials with a pipeline that will not change, would only worsen. So that means that either we don't know how bad things really are. We're spending so much of our time fighting the issues, we don't really know how bad the problem are. And so that's the first thing. So when I say, okay, well, functional unity, we have to have a cohort of people who can understand that and not be intimidated by it. Because there are some solutions, but they're going to require some significant level of thought, significant level of tactics, significant level of building for the future.
Right.
Because these numbers is not going to change tomorrow. You're not going to change 30 or 40 point differential in unemployment tomorrow. What you can hope for is that every year it gets better.
Right.
So if you're at a 40 point differential, success would be getting it to 30 point differential.
Right.
That means 10% or, thousands or tens of thousands of more black men are now working, who now become providers for their families. So that means you got the likelihood of stabilizing families and stabilizing communities. And at the core of the rumble for us in our society is the family. It's the community. If those are two out of place, then it's very hard for you to mount any kind of campaign.
Because it all starts. It comes back to the family.
It's organic down to the family. And I said, in the that these alarming disparities creates major consequences to the fabric of both the family and the community life for the Black America, for the Black community. So if we want to change these conditions, we got to first acknowledge how impactful they are to both our community and to our family, to the Black family.
And that ties into what Sister Soldier was saying in the piece, where she said none of these things helped her to realize what she needed to do and what needed to happen. It was when she realized who she was.
So it's critical. And so that's fundamental. So that's got to be part of the equation. So I'm trying to kind of paint a picture here, and I'm hoping you can follow me, because none of these issues that we haven't heard a million times. If I had $1 for every time somebody said we should just do this or we should do that, and I think the argument between Cornel West and them and they're doing this and they're doing that. Well, guess what? If you fundamentally believe that what you're doing is going to change our conditions, we don't need you. We really don't have no use for you. You ain't no help to us.
So you got to unpack that, because, some people saying, well, wait a minute. You mean I can't be part of it because...
No, because you believe that what you're doing is going to make the difference.
And it hasn't thus far.
And it hasn't. It hasn't. It can't. It's impossible. Now, we can go and do one of those presidential debates. How about that, Keon? We get up here. We get a big stage. If that's what it's going to take for me to convince, let's take this to a debate. And let's debate. You on one side thinking that your program is going to help or solve our problems, and my position is it won't. Okay, so I'm gonna win that one. Unless, as Trump said, they what they do, they rigged the system. They rigged the system, and we have no more intelligence. But if intelligence lie, it's impossible for your program to help prop up the Black community and the Black family if it's not dealing with all of the issues facing the Black family and the Black community. Am I right? You agree with me? So let's go. So if you are of the opinion that your little program that's serving 300 people or 200 people or 50 people or even 1,000 people in one area of their lives is going to change our condition, then if you believe that, then you just fooling yourself. I want to talk to the people who don't believe that, who are doing the best they can, but they have to fundamentally understand and respect and realize that they need help. We need help. They cannot do this by themselves. So that's number one. So number two, the magnitude of the problem. The magnitude of the problem that impacts both the Black family and the Black community. The magnitude. We hear about these problems until we just sick in the head.
That's probably what's really wrong with me. I'm probably just sick of it.
Yeah, just sick of it. No just tired, sick and tired of hearing rehearsed and restated and romanticized all day long. My question is, what are we going to do about it? So in order for us to do something about it, one, we have to understand the problem that we're facing. Two, we got to understand that we have by ourselves not the individual capacity to fix it. We don't have it. The problems are much more entrenched. They're much more integrated into the systems that are oppressing us as a community, as a people. Yes, it's racial. I wrote just now, America is a culture of racism. You don't have to say it. It exists. Everything is defined by black and white.
By race, yeah.
Everything is defined by where you are economically. And we got a raw deal. So you individually program out there, whatever it is, cannot mount the capacity necessary to fix these issues. It's going to take a group of us that understands the magnitude of the problem. And I was with a brother this morning, and he says, We have to look at creating incremental gains for today for the chance of having transformational change tomorrow. Yeah. Now, if you're willing to do that, we could get something done. If you're willing to sacrifice that, we could get something done. If you're willing to pay the price now for today and get incremental gains and prepare to now give our children, the children who are not even born, but you know they're coming, a better shot and not be so damn selfish and so me and I and willing to prepare to lay the foundation for a future, a better future for them, we got a shot. If you're not thinking like that, then you're not helpful. You're not going to be helpful. We need to aggregate the people who can think like that. And if they can think like that, it's nothing we can't do. So that's what functional unity looks like, brothers and sisters. Those are the people we're trying to attract and get them around the table to think about what it is we can do given our circumstances, but most importantly, how do we build for the future?
So we are going to take a break.
I'm sweating too.
You sweating?
You know what? Now, Keon, normally, Ptosha, I'm with you today.
You need my
yeah. It's like it's hot up here, and it's hot up in here.
Flames.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's hot.
We're going to take a break and pay some bills. You're listening to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice.
The issues we face are severe and real, and their impact is severe and real. These disparities and these issues have real impact on the lives of black families and, more importantly, black children. This is not an intellectual argument. This is a real disaster for our people, and there is no evidence of a plan of action or strategy. Something is seriously wrong with our approach. We are lacking togetherness. We are lacking functional unity. It appears that we have not been able to figure it out, or that we do not know any better. Why? When people know better, they do better. The proof that we had figured out things and that we know better will be seen in the outcomes. Until we figure out we cannot do this alone and we need each other to move the needle, we will never see our outcomes improve. The black community, especially the leadership, must conclude that our community just does not know how. In fact, who is responsible to handle these issues? Who is responsible for defending the black community? Currently, there is no one responsible. The community must figure this out because no one is going to do it for us. We're on our own. Our community will never achieve true self-determination until it has the capacity and the ability to do for self, which means that it must be able to lead the efforts in the areas of greatest need and that offer the greatest results. Though the learning curve may be steep, we have no other option. This is extremely problematic because since we lack resources, we must depend wholeheartedly on the majority community to fund and finance our capacity, many times without regard for the importance of black people and organizations to serve as the lead. Unfortunately, because of our history in this country, our abilities and capacities are extremely limited, both by content IQ and by resources, the ultimate catch-22.
Welcome back to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice. Again, that was Mr. Keon bringing us back in with a piece from, I believe it was last week's Courier, Message to the Community. It's all about unity. It's all about organizing, from Rahim Islam's column in the Milwaukee Courier. Please check him out. You can reach him. Read the column at MilwaukeeCourierOnline.com. Don't look at me, Rahim. You can pick up a copy of the newspaper, and I'm sure if you happen to, I can't think of many places that you can't find the Courier, but pick up a copy or go online. You can also go to follow Rahim on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn.
And I'm shortening the articles.
Yeah, he's shortening the articles.
That was one eye. When you gonna put him on Snapchat?
Well, I mean,
I got him on Periscope. He ain't on Snapchat yet.
Put it like this: the articles
Are being shortened. Like we said, no matter who doing them, it's the same end result, right? So yes, if you'd like to join
the
in,
articles are being shortened.
Correct.
by popular demand. If I hear one more time, is the articles too long? Well, go read the books.
You doing the hard part. You reading the books.
I'm extracting the kind of the juices out of the thoughts of
how many books?
Thousands and thousands of books and thousands and thousands
giving them
of
the
pages.
clip notes. You giving them?
Yeah, exactly.
You giving them the clip notes,
right? Exactly. So I mean, but the bottom line, and coupled with my own thinking and philosophy.
Debonair.
Right. And my philosophy is a philosophy of one. I'm never going to get past the fact that we got to do this together.
We got to work together.
I'm never going to get past the fact that I alone got the answer, or that Martin Luther King had the answer, that Malcolm didn't, or that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had the answer and Martin didn't.
Right.
Or W.E. Du Bois had the answer.
Or Marcus Garvey.
And Marcus Garvey didn't. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get over that. That's divide and conquer. We need functional unity. We need a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Put it all together. And the question that you must ask, so we keep asking ourselves about this problem, and we sit around. When black people get together, you know what's going to happen. I mean, if you're not drinking and drugging,
or eating.
Well, even when they're eating, they're going to still have a nice conversation. And it's going to always come back to the same place. What we're not doing. Kind of a surface look at the problem. Oh, did you hear about so-and-so? Did you hear about this? Our community this. I remember when we was this, and I remember that. It's the same old argument, brothers and sisters. That's the conversation we have. Let's be honest. Now, unfortunately, I'm telling everybody what our little secret is, but that's the therapeutic conversation we have when we come together at any given time. And we're trying to be a little serious. We're not talking about a basketball game or a football game, or we're not talking about girls and guys talking about girls or girls talking about guys.
Or reality TV.
Or we're not talking about trying to get high, trying to get so high we just escape reality. If we're not doing any of those things, and most of us are not, we're going to be talking about our reality. And why we are handicapped and paralyzed to do something about it. Because that's all we do is talk about it. That's all we do. So my position is this. I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going to take a sword for the community and be disciplined enough to take the rhetoric out of conversation and figure out what are the practical infrastructure we need to build to be able to deliver on the rhetoric. So if we got to be, all of us got to trust each other, then what does that look like? What infrastructure we need in place to do that? If we all got to say we got to all get along, we all got to love each other, well, okay, well, that's good and all. Well, how do we get there? All right? If we all got to do one thing or another thing, whatever that thing is, my question, what is the caboose? What is the train that's going to take us? Somebody has to build the track. Somebody has to build the train. Somebody has to build the engine. And somebody has to be a conductor to take us there. And that train has to be like, I was getting ready to get a little cute, but like the love train. Gamble her. Right. It's true. So we got to have the infrastructure. And I talked about a lot about the concept between leaders and leadership. We need the ship, brothers and sisters. So somebody has to build the infrastructure. So I'm calling on those who have that mind. Everybody doesn't have that kind of mind. We have people amongst us who can use products, but there are some people who actually build products. They get it. And everybody's not wired that way. That's why we're not getting any kind of traction. But I think we have enough content specialists in our community in the areas that we are suffering, whether it be in education, whether it be in cultural upliftment, whether it be a small business, which we have to be able to significantly overhaul. We have capacity in these areas. My job, my goal, universally speaking, responsibility is to put that net out. Attract those kind of people to a place that we can sit down and have a meaningful dialogue about our reality. In addition to defending our community, that's just one aspect. I mean, how long can you go, if use a football analogy, if your defenders are on the field all the time?
And that's all they doing.
You got your defense on all day. Them jokers gonna be worn down.
So offense never come out. Offense never come out.
No.
So it's not only to defend our community, because we got to defend. They're concocting things every day. They might not be specifically intended to harm our community, but they're not there to help our community. And if they're not there to help our community, by just unintended consequences, it's going to hurt our community. Mm-hmm. Because we're not shaping and concocting the plans. Someone else is, and their interest is at heart. So what we have to be able to do is not only defend against all that madness. I was just at the
county.
The county. Oh my God. I was just at the county
swearing in
the
ceremony.
Swearing in, thank you so much.
Ceremony.
And I got a glimpse of the arm wrestling that goes on in that environment. And I'm saying, well, who's defending us in that environment? Now, what you have in politics, you have these districts. They're defending the district.
Their district.
So their district. So you can't say they're defending our community,
because they're only fighting for their district.
They're fighting for one if they're doing that,
or themselves.
right? If they're doing that. But the bottom line, who is defending the black community for Milwaukee? The whole black community.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, not no segment of it, which is basically, I would take it, but, just a segment of it, a district, whether it be an alderman district, whether it be a county district, whether it be a board district, whether it be a state district, whether it be a Senate district or a House representative district. They all districts. They only representing those districts. Who is representing the black community as a whole? We have no representation. But even if we did, we got to do more than just defend the black community. At some point, we got to go on the offense.
Yeah. You got to build.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. At some point, we have to go on the offense. And so you can't be on the field for a whole hour playing defense.
Mm-hmm. With no second string.
But yeah, exactly. So let me tell you something. That's a sad sight.
Yeah. Same old players.
Jokers throwing long bombs on you. They just doing all kinds of stuff. They running around. They just laughing. They got their second, third, and fourth string in the game, beating the stew out of you because you're weak.
New rookies. They got the new rookies.
Right. They might even get fans out of the stand.
That's not funny though. But
Am I? You understand what I'm saying?
you dead on. That's a straight win.
So who's responsible for building this team? Somebody has to. Or stop complaining. Shut the hell up and stop complaining if you're not prepared to build this team and build a defense against the things and it can't be in the politics. I just told you how siloed that is. You might have 35 different districts representing the black community. And if they're not all working together, there's no way in the world you're going to represent the black community through that vehicle. It can help, but it can't create a master plan for that community. But again, we're not out of the water yet, brothers and sisters, because defending the community is just the first step. We got to advance the community. We got to go on the offense. We got to, as Martin Luther said, we got to build, baby, build. Mm-hmm. It's right. Organize. That means we got to organize, baby, organize. He says, so we can learn, baby, learn, so we can earn, baby, earn. And I say also, we got to be able to burn, baby, burn. Yeah. Now, I'm not suggesting don't go out here and burn nothing out. We know that don't work. But we got to agitate, baby, agitate. We got to get in people's faces, baby, get in people's faces. We got to fight against the power, fight against the power. We got to have the abilities to have civil disobedience coupled with a strategic plan. So not only defend ourselves, we can advance the issues that impact us, like those things that are destroying the black family. There's two, that's the greatest ones: unemployment and education. Well, they produce the incarceration. But you can put that in there because it's already out now. But the point I'm making before, if we're going to look at the long-term defense against this, a community that's on its knees, in order for it to be able to get up off its knees, it has to look at these two issues. It has to. So, we got work to do. So the question is, who's going to do it? So you hear those conversations when we have those, like, you know, those friendly conversations. We never walk out that room with who's responsible for.
It's like, okay, so you know.
Yeah. It just the ideas just go up into the atmosphere. There's no one got charged with the assignment. No one said we're going to meet back next week. No one said we're going to put a goal up. No one said anything. They said as if it wasn't even meant to be.
One thing I noticed that I'm not going to lie, it deters me from coming out is you get all the players together all the time to figure out what we're going to do, and there's no coach or a coaching staff that's not necessarily playing but watching from the outside. Somebody to cut the fat meat off the lean meat. Somebody to shake the haters off. You know, somebody to take control of the components. I mean,
and that's another characteristic that we must come to grips with, is that leaders need leaders.
Yeah.
The entire human being needs leaders. Needs leaders and needs leadership. The thing that leaders have to have is really leadership. They need to have an infrastructure. Like, for example, we know every aspect of government, all the way up to the President of the United States. These people in there, they're just playing a role. Mm-hmm. But the script has already been made, developed, and they're following the script. Yeah. So we know what leadership, we know how the government is going to work. We need the same thing for our community.
They change the script.
Well, they don't have to. They just change the people.
Yeah, exactly.
They just change the people. Mm-hmm. Something happened to the mayor. We know exactly what goes on. Somebody takes on. There's a common council. There is a mayor's office. There's an order. There's a balance. There is a design. Well, we need to be able to create that same situation for our community. And some say, well, that's just too much. Well, guess what? If that's too much, then we will always be in here complaining. Mm-hmm. If that's too much, then we're not deserving
of getting out of the shape.
We're not. Because we're not going to prepare to earn it. That's part of the earning. Then somebody says, well, okay, I want to be a doctor. And then he says, they see the caseload, the workload, and says, oh, no, I can't do that. Well, you don't want to be a doctor.
Or the years they have to go to school and study.
I can't do that. Nope. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing here for our community, brothers and sisters. There's going to require some work, real work, not pacifist work, not idealistic work, not conceptual work, real work. When they're building the bridges, they're building real work. When they're building trains, they're building real work. When they're building skyscrapers, they're building real work. It's real. Somebody's in the trenches. Somebody's getting dirty. Somebody's creating plans. And somebody's executing. It's real work.
So right here,
and we're not going to be able to get away from that. That's the work that we have to do.
The work has to be done.
Now, I can talk like this because Ptosha's not feeling good. So she can't interrupt me.
So you loving it.
She's
loving it.
She's
I'm passive.
Yeah, no, she's
I'm
real
passive
passive
today.
right now because she'd have stopped me a couple times by now. But since she can't stop me,
You on the
I'm
roll.
just gonna keep. I'm gonna keep busting it.
You done took off your jacket.
I know. I'm sweating.
He's sitting on the edge of the seat.
I know. I'm like,
He's literally on the edge of his
and
seat.
almost in his microphone. All right,
We are gonna
because
take a break.
it is serious.
It is.
I'm not joking. I'm not here, but for one reason.
And I think people don't understand that. I want to talk more about that when we come back. We talked about the years, just that the work is being done that people don't see and the behind the scenes before we can even get to the point of having a discussion on air. We're going to take a break, pay some bills. When we come back, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. And thank you for listening to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice.
Our desire, our prayer, that we can have a peaceful, intelligent rally here this afternoon. But at the same time, we see that they have surrounded us with many of their own agents in uniform and out of uniform who have spent much time here in Harlem posing as peace officers and at the same time breaking up the peace of black people. So we hope that they will be peaceful and we will be peaceful. We are here to tell you to love the white man. You have come to the wrong place. And those of you who think that you perhaps came here to hear us tell you to turn the other cheek to the brutality of the white man, I say again, you came to the wrong place. But no matter what happens, we don't teach you to turn the other cheek. We don't teach you to turn the other cheek in the South, and we don't teach you to turn the other cheek in the North. We teach you to obey the law. We teach you to carry yourselves in a respectable way. But at the same time, we teach you that anyone who puts his hand on you, do your best to see that he doesn't put it on anybody else. You don't have any boats or airplanes bringing drugs into this country. The white man brings it in. The white man brings it to Harlem. The white man makes you a drug addict. The white man then puts you in jail when he catches you using drugs. Who is it that controls the prostitution in Harlem? It's the white man. Who controls the large sale of whiskey and wine? It's the white man. You don't have any distillery. You don't own Shenley's. You don't own Old Overholt or Seagram. You don't put the seal on that bottle of whiskey. It's the white man. Who gives you the deck of cards and the dice that you use to gamble with? It's the white man. And after he sell them to you, he catch you with them and put you in jail for using them. We're trapped in a vicious cycle of poverty, of ignorance, of apathy, of disease, and of death. And they have these old Uncle Tom Negro leaders coming to Harlem, telling you and me that times are getting better. Your times will never get better until you make them better.
Welcome back to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice. Well, he was on a roll and now he's burnt out. We have a caller holding on the line. Caller, thank you for holding.
Yes, I'd like to know where can we meet to talk about the issues you're speaking about presently?
Stay tuned. We're planning to launch the. We've been working on the behind the scenes, trying to meet with all the, well, not all, but as many people we could meet with over at least the last couple of years, but the last year in particular, with the organizations. The strategy, the first strategy is to meet with the people who are actually leading organizations, and I'll tell you why, because they represent some more capacity than individuals. Then the next is to identify those individuals who are content specialists in areas of incarceration or the criminal justice system, in areas of education, and areas of economics, and in the areas of cultural, and the areas of I'm forgetting one, health and wellness. And so that's the goal. So I would suspect, if I had to pencil a date certain, that everyone will be able to be invited to something that we could talk about. We probably get through the end of summer, and we'll have a meeting. We will have a community meeting.
Okay, well, that sounds good. But I'd just like to ask one question also with that is...
But excuse me, I just want to make sure, though, those are we've been meeting with all of those different organizations and people along the way, and we've made some progress in developing an economic strategy. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We like to hold a press conference probably in the next 30 days to talk more about the economic strategy. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. Okay. Now, I like your view on this case, as far as this thing called gerrymandering. How these Caucasians can get together and form a block to stop certain black politicians from doing things for her people. And to me, here in Milwaukee, I haven't met not one lawyer of color who are able to deal with these people or even to defeat their scheme. So I'd just like to know, how do you see this as far as on the legal aspect also, and how they come up with these tricks and lock us in, and it's like we're in a barrier. We can't move. We don't advance. We don't do nothing. It's almost as if we're not educated enough in law to deal with these people. So I'd just like to hear your opinion.
Well, I think you're correct. I mean, over the last one of the tactics of the Republicans over the last 30 years has been to get in control of the House and the Senate, whether they get the executive office or not. But what they was able to do, starting with Congress, is to redistrict areas that are more favorable to them and less favorable to us. And so this has happened every 10 years. After the U.S. Census is done, every 10 years is done. So for us to undo what's been done over the last, say, 20 years means we're going to have to get control of these these legislative bodies in order for us to mount a campaign. So I call that a political strategy. And so it's both a political, and then we also have to challenge the legality of some of these acts that's been done. And I believe that there's some that's actually either in the Supreme Court, Wisconsin Supreme Court,
yes,
or
there's currently a case in the Wisconsin Supreme Court now
to challenge it. Right.
And it's been there for a couple of years.
Okay, so
it's a process. Right. But yes, we're challenging some of the most recent redistricting that was done.
But I think your main point is that this is all being done within the rules.
Yes, sir.
So what we got to do is be able to play by the rules and win. And so hopefully we can get a group of people together who kind of understands that better than most, and then can help develop a strategy that can inform the community exactly what it is. But because the reality is, when they're trying to minimize the 250,000 black people who live in Milwaukee.
Yes, sir.
And if that black group was really working together, it can almost control a lot of things. And unfortunately, it minimizes it, so by creating more segregated districts. But we're on top of it. I mean, from a standpoint of understanding it, and it's got to be one of the issues that we put on the table when it comes down to political strategies.
And thank you for your call, caller. Just stay tuned in the Courier newspaper, on the show, commercials. We'll have more information coming out about when those meetings will take place. And it's like you said, herding cats. People, I know they've been listening to us say, "Oh, it's coming," but they don't realize when we get this group ready at the table, either something else happens and we have to turn our energy and concentrate on something else. And
work is being done. Just the know that. In fact, we were just talking earlier that was looking at some pictures earlier and said there was a couple years ago. The work is being done and progress is being made. We're not being able to take over City Hall yet, nor are we able to build and rebuild our communities yet. But we are in the foundational work that's being done, and we're tuning up. We're aligning different people together. We're presenting an argument for many different stakeholders. We're having conversations with many different people who are in the know, not only in the know, who are out there trying to fix this problem that we have, and trying to convince them that they cannot do it by themselves. In order for us to be successful, we all have to build something that's bigger than all of us individually. And so that's a concept we're working on and we're promoting. And so far, so good. And we're making progress, but we're not ready yet.
So I want to shift gears just a little bit, Rahim. And basically, regardless of what we're talking about, one of the things that you always discuss is us being able to do things at capacity. And one of the things that we also often discuss is not only doing things at capacity, but how we have to have a Universal Companies, and Universal Companies family of schools has 4 schools currently here in Milwaukee, 3 campuses. And we are currently enrolling for the fall. And from what I've been tracking and looking at, people are coming in every day. But we really want to invite people to come in and see these campuses. And I believe we have one of the principals from the Webster campus on the line right now. Principal Roscoe?
Yes. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. You sound really peppy for this time of the afternoon after dealing with middle schoolers all day.
Oh, my passion is middle school. They give me my pep.
Well, what's going on over there at the Webster campus?
So I'm excited and pleased to invite families. We're enrolling for the fall. I'm very excited for fall 2016. We've got some amazing course offerings. Spanish, a course called Project Lead the Way, which is an excellent opportunity exposing our scholars to engineering and math careers, along with arts, dance, and, of course, our rigorous core content instruction where our academic focus is rigor and intervention and closing the achievement gap. So right now we're inviting all of your listeners and families to come in for a tour of our beautiful Webster building. We're at 6850 North 53rd, right at the corner of 53rd and Green Tree Road.
So, Principal Roscoe, what grades are housed there at the Webster campus? It's 2 different schools, correct?
Correct. There are 2 schools in the Webster campus, or the Webster building. We have our Webster Middle School, which is grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then we have UACB High School, which this year services 9th grade, and next year will grow to 10th grade.
So, pretty much anything anyone needs from 6th grade up to 10th grade, they can come over to the Webster campus and enroll. Or are there any other places or opportunities they can enroll?
Of course. They can enroll here at Webster. Again, at 53rd and Green Tree, they can enroll K4 through 5th grade at either Lee, which will specialize in kindergarten through 2nd grade next year, or at our Green Bay campus, which will house 3rd through 5th grades. They can also go online on the MPS website. They can choose Universal Academy as one of their options as well. We're also going to have an open house coming up on Thursday, May 12th. That's going to be at all 3 of our campuses from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. They can come in, tour, check out classrooms, meet some staff, and enroll as well.
So if I came to Webster, but I had young people that would be in the elementary grades, could I come to Webster and do all of my enrollment at one campus and you take care of me for all of my children?
You certainly can. We'll take care of you here, K4 through 10th grade. We have a pipeline directly to the other campuses as well. We want to get families into our buildings, and we can take it from there.
Okay, so we just need to get them into any of the sites, and then they can enroll their children regardless of what campus they'll be at.
Correct.
So my other question, these open houses that coming up, we have an open house coming up, but there's also a recruitment fair coming up, correct?
There is definitely. We are currently searching for licensed, highly qualified educators who are passionate about children in the city of Milwaukee and giving them a strong academic focus that makes them career and college ready. The staff recruitment fair is going to be Saturday, May 7th. From 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's going to be here at the Webster campus. Again, that's 6850 North 53rd. And applicants can come in. They can complete their application, leave us with resumes and portfolios, and we'll be doing screening interviews right on the spot. All 4 principals will be here for the entire time.
So if there's individuals that are looking for employment, looking for a job, they can come to the recruitment fair. And also parents that are looking to enroll their young people for the fall can come to any of the campuses and enroll for this coming fall, correct?
Exactly.
So is there anything else you want to share with us? I know you guys have some events, other events that are coming up before the end of the school year. Anything else you want to share?
We do. We have our Google Expeditions, which I'm really proud of, this Thursday here at the Webster campus. Our scholars will be participating in some interactive field trips studying foreign travel, space travel. It's a pretty big deal. They're only second in the state to have this experience. So that's taking place this Thursday for all of our scholars, as well as a poetry slam this Friday, where our little poets are going to showcase their literary and oratory talents. That's going to be open to families to come on and check us out.
Okay, so I have one final question for you, and that is, based on your experience, why would you recommend someone send their scholars to the UACB or the Universal Company's family of schools? What would be your recommendation?
Sure. My recommendation would be for those families who are looking for something different. You're looking for a school that's vested in the whole child, their community, their character, their leadership, as well as their academics, getting them ready for work, ready for college, ready to test well. This is a school, I should say, that focuses on the family. We have our family student resource centers in all of our buildings where we service parents, whatever their need may be, whether it's job readiness or energy assistance to tax preparation, to every need of the family. We meet those here, and that's what separates us from everyone else.
So what I would say, that sounds great, but how you opened up this conversation and said that you love middle schoolers and they give you your energy, I would definitely want my scholar to be somewhere where someone had that type of personality and attitude towards teaching and also serving our students. So we want to thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for calling in, and we look forward to all the exciting things. And we got to have a day to get you and your colleagues up here in the studio and let you guys chop it up with Rahim. What do you think about that, Rahim? I encourage it. But we're not going to pull you guys out of the classroom. We're going to wait until school is out and get you guys all up here in the studio and talk about. Yeah, you can bring some scholars.
Oh, that would be great. They'd love to come.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
we film it and we'll blow it up.
Oh, yeah. So we're gonna.
Middle school, they love to show off.
Well, we look forward to making that happen.
That's funny because I remember middle school. I definitely showed off a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little.
Thank you, Principal Roscoe, and we'll talk to you and see you soon.
Thanks a lot. You guys take care.
Thank you.
So, Rahim, that segue I know was, elite, but it really wasn't, because one of the things that we've talked about is there are people who can do the work, and you often talk about creating supply and demand. So we have people that say they want certain things for their children, for their scholars, for their community, and now we have a school that they can support. And they can also have a say. And the schools, one thing that you've done is you've taken the schools but turned them back over to the community. So they're not your schools, they're the community schools.
I'm extremely proud of that. I can't really express how much I'm so excited for our community that the Green Bay building,
beautiful.
The new Lee building, they were mothballed.
Yes.
And when I was driving up today, I was up at the Webster campus, and I was driving up there, and I just said to myself, I'm really. I mean, it's been a lot. It took a lot. It's been a very, very costly situation, but when I drive down that, as I think Green Tree
53rd
Road
and Green Tree,
and hit the campus
on 53rd next to the park,
it's breathtaking.
It's beautiful.
I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely breathtaking, and I had something to do with that. And I feel good. I feel comfortable. I feel good that the work that we're doing, we're making progress.
And it's in your vision. I mean, you saw the building when it was mothballed.
Oh yeah.
And then now to come and see it.
That's the thing that lured me in. That's, if you want to know why, how do I get here? One of the things that not knowing all of the politics, not knowing all the conditions, nor knowing the people, when I seen that building and just knowing what there are about 9 pieces to what I call the academic gap. And one of the components of the academic gap is what I call, and what others call, the opportunity gap. Mm-hmm. And the opportunity gap is the facilities are not on par. And so when I seen that facility,
you thought,
here, just no way in the world this should be mothballed. And so if we could get this thing up and running, that's one major piece that contributes to the academic gap, is the facilities are not adequate. And the Webster campus is just that, a campus.
It is.
It's a middle school and a high school. It's couched right between 2 parks, an environmental park and a recreational park. Mm-hmm. And it has enough on its own campus to see. And by the way, MPS does a tremendous job in keeping that building and that campus pristine.
Right. The grass is always cut. The snow is shoveled. Paint, everything.
It's. I mean, kudos to the team, because they keep that they keep that together, and that's a beautiful thing. So, we're making progress. It's very incremental. Remember, I told you earlier. I said
if you're willing to
do the work, we can make incremental progress, but make transformational progress tomorrow. And that's to build the institutions and what we're attempting to do.
So we are very proud of that campus and all of our campuses. Please, if you know anyone that's looking, or maybe even if they're not looking, if you just want to see, okay, this Rahim guy is always on the radio talking about this and talking about that, go in and check out one of our schools. We're not saying it's going to be perfect. Well, we're saying that we want to welcome you and the community in.
But you can best believe that we're pushing for perfection.
We are every day. And that's what I wanted to mention when you were talking about the buildings. What I like when I go into the school is the culture of the scholars. It feels like a school. Doesn't feel like prison. I don't feel like they're afraid if I speak to them that they can't speak. But it feels like a school, a healthy environment. They feel like they're enjoying where they are. They feel safe.
The environment is what we must have in order for us to educate. There has to be an environment, a friendly, wholesome environment where where scholars feel that someone cares.
Right.
This is just not a job.
Right, that they're just, or like Principal Roscoe, that I love this.
Yeah, right. It's not a job. It's more of a passion, and that people care. And you can see it, and you don't, I don't see it, and they don't know when I'm coming.
No, they never know when.
They never know I'm coming, and I don't see.
So it's not like they could be prepared.
No, I don't see no plans where they could just try to front,
Okay, he's gone now, so
it is what it is.
Yeah. So we have a caller. Caller, thank you. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I was calling and I heard the lady speak about the upcoming event at the Western campus, and I wanted to know more about it because I am seeking employment. I am currently with MPS, but I would like to move into middle and high school with university.
So the recruitment fair, if you pick up a copy of the most recent issue of the Courier, all the information is there, but I can share it with you as well, and then I'll give you a number to call also.
Okay.
So the number you can call is 414-716-5901.
You a good teacher, sister?
5901.
Huh?
She was reading the number back. She was reading the number.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to know, are you a good teacher?
Yeah, I'm an educator assistant. I'm currently at Mount Mary. I talked to Dr. Rahim before and told him I was waiting to get my degree. He said, well, you don't have to wait to the end.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I'm gonna. I want to go.
Well, you sound like you sound like you can be fit into our culture and climate. So go ahead.
So the recruitment fair is this. I'm sorry. That's just kind of how we roll here. Is May 7th, 9 a.m. at the Webster campus. And just so you know, Rahim does not do any of the hiring. So he may like you and think you a nice teacher, but you have to meet the qualifications for the staff over there.
That's not true. I do all the hiring. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
But you can call and they can give you more information, and then you can find out what positions are available and then what qualifications you need for those positions. So don't say you called and talk to Rahim.
No, but the thing though, the point that she did make, and I think we definitely we take people wherever they are
and help them to get to
and
where
one
they
of the
need
things
to be.
that I think is most important is going back to the strategy that we have, and I think Principal Roscoe was talking about. It's about our people,
right?
You know, we're not trying to. This ain't no. This is about our people, and we look at both the family, both the teachers, the administrators, the climate staff, the health workers, the student, the parent workers, the people who in the building cleaning the building. We're all in this together. In addition to our children and their parents, you know, we're trying to create this family approach at our school. So there's a role for anybody who really is sincere.
Yes, and have that desire, and I so have that desire. Like I said, I'm currently with MPS, and I like the school that I'm at, but they, you know, it's okay, they're doing good, and I just feel like I can make a difference somewhere else because they already, you know, they're taking care of theirs, and I just want to be able to pour into ours where it's so needed.
Okay, thank you, and make sure you give them a call.
I will.
Thanks. So, you know, they're trying to help me. If you guys hear a little stuff going on in the background, we're going to take a break because I'm not feeling well. So my guys here is supporting me.
Yeah, we got your back, sister.
Doing some of the heavy lifting. So we're going to take a break.
That's why we sound so organized.
They trying, y'all. They trying to support me. We'll be back after the break. You're listening to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice.
Financial in any meaningful way to have any real impact. Any solution must involve a significant level of organization within the black community. It will require a collective and comprehensive approach if we expect sustained improvement and progress. Once we have become more organized, we will need to organize and align other external systems to interface with our efforts and to assist in the delivery of our agenda. Society in general is organized, but is not organized enough to address the massive disparities that continue to challenge and oppress the very existence of the black community. Our efforts have been severely impeded, and in order to address this, society will require extensive reconfiguration. Every institution will have to be reformed or reshaped to support the black agenda. And that will not happen without having the right level of force or power and organization. Every level of government, philanthropic, large nonprofit, i.e. health, education, and service delivery, business and corporate, civic, and political sectors must be organized and aligned if the black community will achieve success in the implementation of its agenda. This is called self-determination. Today, our challenge is to establish functional unity. Today, our challenge is to fight as hard as we can against disunity, pervasive hopelessness, fear, and distrust that have paralyzed our community. Today, with regard to many of our issues, it is not what they are doing to us, but what we are not doing. We must stop making excuses why we refuse to come together, because no one will do for us what we must do for ourselves. Our generation is at a crossroads, and so much is at stake. We also have a chance to do something great and mighty. The time is now for our community to stand up and heed the spirit of the change that is percolating throughout our community. We have not been able to leverage and channel this energy into a central vehicle. This is organization. We must change our behavior. We must really want it. Our success will not be achieved by an individual or by one organization. It will only come when we begin to work together through functional unity and cooperation.
Welcome back to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice. So we know our show is a little bit different. You know, we don't do breaking news and stuff like that. But today, I just received a press release from the office of Alderwoman Milele A. Cogs, from the 6th Aldermanic District here in Milwaukee. And her press release reads, Diverse Coalition voices support for Alderman Hamilton as council president. A diverse group of newly elected and newly re-elected members of the Milwaukee Common Council today voiced their support for Alderman Ashanti Hamilton to serve as the next Common Council president. Members of the 2016-2020 Common Council will elect the next council president during their charter meeting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. That's April 19th. In the council chambers of City Hall. Alderwoman Milele Cogs said she is proud to support Alderman Hamilton for council president. Throughout my tenure on the council, Alderman Hamilton and I have worked together on numerous initiatives and legislative items aimed at increasing opportunities, addressing poverty, and investing in people, especially children and families. Alderwoman Cogs said Alderwoman Cogs says he has a collaborative and result-oriented approach to getting things done that is sorely needed at this time in our city's history, and he has the unique ability to work with all sides, all players, to make progress on the issues and policies that we must address now to move Milwaukee to a better place for all citizens. If you want to read more of Alderwoman Cogs' press release, you can go to, it's all over her Facebook pages, and I'm sure by now you can probably just Google it and get a copy of it. But we're excited that she has put this out, that they're going to look like they've voiced their support, and we'll see what happens tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. For the vote.
Well, we voice our support as well.
That's right.
I mean, you know, that's good news. That's good. That's a good conversation to be having today, because we definitely need leadership in those positions of authority,
and someone with the ability, as she stated in her press release, to work with everyone. I
say to everyone, like I use Eldridge Cleaver's. I think it was Eldridge. Yeah, I think it was Eldridge. Huey Newton. I'm sorry. Huey Newton said that every Negro
has the ability,
has the potential to be black. I've upgraded that for 2016 to say that every African American has the potential to be black. And I can say with all respect and love and knowledge that Ashanti is clearly one who has delivered on his potential, and he is one who can lead our entire community, but also with the right necessary guidance and compassion and understanding for the concerns of the black community. So this is a big win for our community, and God willing, it'll come to fruition tomorrow. And I think that some of the pieces are moving in the right direction.
Well, I'm not going to read it all because I know we have some other stuff we need to discuss before we wrap up. But I definitely loved the quotes from some of their colleagues there regarding why they were supporting. So I encourage everyone to take a look and stay tuned. I'm sure there'll be more. You could tell I don't feel well today. There will be more information coming soon. I'm going to toss it back to you guys.
Well, that's your normal. Don't go there.
You don't ever tell me no. I'm getting a little bit of love today because I'm sick. Just a little bit, but not. He's like, wait a minute, I've been too nice.
I know.
He's like, I've been too nice. Let me pull it back.
No. One of the things I was thinking, I wanted to kind of change gears for a minute. I was reading. Is this true? Michael Jordan's coming back. Michael Jordan
coming back to what?
To play basketball.
Well,
Did you
I
see,
think it's
is that a joke or something?
No, I think it has something to do with. I did.
Have you?
Read
You
that.
haven't seen it?
I read it.
I've seen a million of them. I don't know if it's a joke or not.
Talk to me, Ptosha.
It has something to do with a team and bringing him. I'm gonna.
Oh, they gonna have an OG team? It's gonna be old school versus new school.
Y'all so silly.
Well, I thought. No, but I didn't think. But I just thought it was this.
No, it has something to do with. Here, I'm gonna read it. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Well, I didn't want to, get too light, but I wanted to get a little lighter than we are, kind of always being so heavy. But that's good news with the alderman.
That's what you call it, heavy.
Well, no, I meant
I call it deep.
Yeah, you mean with
us? You said we try not to be so heavy.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean the show.
Yeah,
the show.
Well,
is like,
I think it has something to do with him being a partial owner, and if they activated him as a player for a certain period of time, then it would enable the team to do something. And I don't remember what it was. So I think that's what it was about. It was something that was more strategical. It wasn't like he's coming back and he's just going to be playing every day. It was because he's an owner. If they activated him as a player, it would allow them to do something that they were trying to do.
Well, a couple of things I wanted to kind of share with our community about the whole. Now we're not going to. Let's get something and put it in perspective. One of the issues that we face is that there is a distance between where we are and where we need to be just to begin functional unity. Mm-hmm. So let's not get clear that we could just roll over tomorrow and just start to practice it, because it's a climate and culture that has to be created. And one of the things you read, Keon, is we got to really want it.
Yeah.
And the other thing, we have to be fighting. And one of the things, and I hate to say it, but that was kind of really, 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 I don't even know sometimes how I'm writing some of this stuff. But when you said that we have to be just as much as fighting against disunity as we are fighting for unity.
Exactly.
Now, what does that look like? That means... And we got to fight against hopelessness. How many times you've heard, I don't think it would happen. We got to fight against it. Why can't it happen?
Fear and distrust also.
Right. Mm-hmm. Why can't it happen?
It can, but where do we ever start? That once again, That's where
Start with you.
We're talking about the coaches and
no, but it starts with you.
Oh, but of course,
it starts with me.
But of course,
it starts with you, Ptosha. When I remember looking at the whole thing with Michael Jackson, The Man in the Mirror. Mm-hmm. It really starts with you. So the question is, in your influence, the people you work with, when you hear disunity, you have to fight it.
Yeah.
When you hear paralysis and hopelessness, you have to fight it, just like I have to do it. And you could be surprised how many people start doing that. We start to change the climate and culture, and that's what we're doing now on the radio, on writing the articles and speaking engagements and talking to the meetings and having meetings with people, is to try to persuade them that there is hope. We can do this. We guess what? We must do it. It ain't like we can do it. We have no other choice but to do it. And if we fail to do it, we fail for a whole generation. We fail for a whole people. That's what's on our shoulders right now. And the question for us, so we say, wake up, brothers and sisters. It is our responsibility. But how does it happen? It starts with the man in the mirror. You got to fight against disunity. And guess how disunity looks? It comes around when somebody says, well, I don't want that nigga around me. Exactly. No, you got to fight that.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was getting to earlier about the coaching and the coaching staff.
Well, we all see it.
We got egos on a team, but yet they still able to play championship ball.
Well, the thing of it is that the only way, I can't be everywhere. You can't be everywhere.
Exactly.
But when you hear it, it has to be confronted.
Immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that means, and I'm saying to the brothers and sisters who are listening, when you're around the people that in your influence and you're talking and you hear hopelessness, you have to fight it. When you hear disunity, you have to fight it. And you have to defend unity. No matter how it looks, you have to defend it. Because guess what? We have no other place to go. There's no other people that's going to come and save us. If we see that things are wrong, and they are, it's us who's going to fix it. So we're not going to. It's like the situation we see now with the primary with the Republican and Democrats. And what is the issue? The biggest issue is that even though they're competing amongst each other, they don't want to be so competitive that they can't bring everybody together.
Right, because at the end of the day, they might have to look from that pool to get their running mate.
No, not might. They have to.
Right.
Yeah. To be successful.
Right, so you can't tear them completely down.
So Bernie Sanders and Hillary are dancing.
Right.
They're trying to attack each other, but at the same time, they don't want to go so far as to disunite the party. Right. This is the same way we have to do as a community. So even if you have a legitimate beef with somebody, you don't want to do it at the point that it's going to cost the unity.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that's one of the things that I think we do, and I think it's not something. It's been in our right that we tear each other down publicly,
right?
Or like you said, we decide we're not going to work with this person or that person, and we have to get to a point where even if I don't like something that you're doing, I don't tear you down publicly. I still support you and then talk to you.
Or if it's public, there's nothing wrong with disagreement and having a different approach.
Well, that's different than tearing down.
Well, yeah, it's different than tearing down. But you can't. I'm not trying to put anybody in a straitjacket.
Oh no, you can have an opinion.
But yeah, you can have an opinion. But you got to also be able to say, well, look, is this opinion going to be detrimental to our community? And
is it going to halt us?
Right. Is it going to further divide our community? We know that. We know what those answers are. And so the question for us is, though, so we must practice, when we must practice, all of us must get in the mirror and be like Michael Jackson said in The Man in the Mirror. It got to start with us. We can create. We're talking about the schools, the climate and culture that we got to create. We have to create a climate and culture where we are bigger than the individual. Our collective. Our group is bigger. Right. Our collective is bigger than any one of us. And we must protect that. That should never be a sacrifice.
Ever.
Never. But if you want an example, just look at the concept of Bernie and Hillary.
Right. And why they're doing this
They
dance.
dancing.
Right. Well,
They try they're trying to distinguish themselves, but at the same time, they don't want to burn any bridges that's going to jeopardize unity amongst the party.
And we have
This
to
is
look
what
at
we're
ourselves
talking
as
about,
that,
functional unity. This ain't rocket science. This is common sense. The elders used to say we don't want to air our dirty laundry in the public, right?
Exactly.
That's a very basic principle. We don't want to air our dirty laundry in the public. So, I mean, I'm just thinking about the visual on that either, you know.
But when and how do we wash our laundry?
Well, I mean, but
We wash it in private in the washroom.
I get you. Well, when do we wash it?
I mean,
As we go on, we got to wash as we go on.
Because in my observation, experiences, and opinion, in some of these trenches, it's not so much hopelessness and fear that we're dealing with now as it is, like you say, the disunity and the distrust. We have things we need to rebuild.
No, here's how you know it's hopelessness. It's when somebody can talk all day about distrust but not do anything about it. That's just an example. That's just an example of hopelessness. Because the reality is they don't feel that it can be changed. That's what hopelessness is. So there's always something to do about it. We're humans. This is what God has given us. He's given us the power to think of something and to implement it. And it's the will of God. We have the will. We have been made in God's likeness. When God said be, and it is. Now for us, when we say be, it's got a lot of work that can be done. But that doesn't mean we don't say be, and that doesn't mean we don't do the work. But you cannot romanticize about the problem, about distrust, and you're not doing anything about it. And if you're not doing anything about it, you're really suffering from a level of hopelessness, especially the louder you are in your conversation about distrust. If you're that loud about distrust, then you should be that loud about unifying our community and building trust.
Understood.
You follow what I'm saying? So look in the mirror and ask yourself, what are you doing? Are you promoting a healthy community? Are you promoting the positiveness of our community? And I can tell you right now, it's almost impossible to do that if you don't have our history. It's almost impossible. If you just got a thimble knowledge of who we are and what we've come through, you will not be able to champion this concept unless you have a better foundational knowledge of who we are. Then the context of the struggle can be put in its proper view. And you won't see us as an inferior people. You will see us in a superior light. Because by all recollection, by all realities, by all measures that you can use for any measurement, we are not supposed to be here. We're not. But by the grace of God, we're here, and the strength and the power of our people, we're here, and the mercy and guidance and understanding of our ancestors, we're here, because we carry and we embody a great DNA. We embody a great spirit, and that spirit is the culmination and the exaggeration of the human spirit. It's in us. Now, I know people say, well, damn, lost his mind. No, I haven't lost my mind. I've studied our history. I studied what has been done to us. You should check some of my what do you call them things you be putting up on Facebook? Memes. You should check out some of my memes. Follow me on Facebook.
Or Twitter.
Or
Instagram.
You You know, I've never been on Instagram yet. I still
You
don't
say
know
that
how to.
every time, and I pull it up for you, and then you.
I don't understand it.
It's just pictures. It's nothing but pictures.
Well, anyway.
But
anyway, you need to follow me and look at some of my memes.
If they can't read, they can at least look at that, right?
Look at the memes. The memes will tell you some direction about where I'm coming from, and they're pulled out of the articles.
And you can click, right?
And you can click and you go right to the articles, but you don't have to read my articles. I mean, just Google anything you think of, and you can get some information on our community. You got to get a better understanding of what has happened to us. Then you can have a better idea of the fight. You can have a better idea of the opposition. You can have a better idea of the enemy. And the enemy to us today, let me be very clear, is not a human being. The enemy today is ignorance. That's our enemy. I said it in the paper, and Keon, you read it. When people know better, they do better.
If he knew better, he'd do better.
Well, then that's something we can handle, right? Mm-hmm. All you got to do is just go learn, go teach yourself, go study some things, and if you can't read, then maybe that's might be an issue. If you cannot really read, then you have a step one. You got to take a precursor. You have to make to get to the level that I'm telling you have to be at.
But
you have to learn how to read.
Yes, and everyone should learn how to read. But now, even if you don't know how to read, everything is.
I'm coming out with my video.
Oh, video. See, I was just saying audio.
No, I was getting ready to come out with my videos.
Really? You know what?
We're gonna
wrap up.
Tony's working on my video, so I'm gonna say now I could be really say you check out my video.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
I have my video.
You already have a YouTube page up where they can go and listen to all of the shows that you've done.
Yeah?
Yes.
I didn't even know that.
Universally Speaking, Milwaukee.
Okay.
On
Milwaukee.
YouTube. That's it.
Okay. Well, you can figure out how to go there. You can go there.
Just go to YouTube. So, any closing remarks, Rahim?
Wait a minute. We finished, Keon?
It's over now.
Oh,
over now.
You're right. Daggone. I'll just get started.
You want to go another hour?
Yeah, we're going to ask Mr. Joe for another 4 hours. I know. As usual, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'll be at the swearing in tomorrow. I was at the county exec. I enjoyed it. They elected a new chairperson and also invited some new members of the county supervisors to the come on the board. I thought it was very interesting. Same thing is going to happen tomorrow with the Common Council. And I'm hoping and praying that Ashanti Hamilton becomes our new council president. Given the amount of support he has, I think it's going to happen. But anything's possible. But we're definitely putting our 2 cents in the mix and saying that how much we support him. We're making progress, brothers and sisters. It's incremental, but incremental progress is good progress. We're winning over people. We're getting people to the table. We're having conversations about what if. We're examining what strengths do we have. We're doing what we call an asset map to determine what assets do we have in our community. We're talking to anybody who has power or perceived power. We're talking to them about who we are and what we want and what role we want them to play. So we're making progress. And God willing, over the next couple months, you'll be able to see some of the work that's been done over the last couple years. And we wouldn't have been able to do it without Mr. Jones and WNOV and the Courier. We wouldn't be able to do it, just point blank. Unless I got a bullhorn out here and went out here on the...
They be picked you up. They be like, get that crazy.
Yeah. I already got a bullhorn, and how many people would have been able to connect with there? A few. Here we can connect with thousands of people and on a regular basis, and I think the message is getting out. So with that, I'd like to just say, Ptosha, I hope you feel better.
Oh, I was gonna say but I'm not.
You gotta work through it.
Yeah, I gotta work through it.
You know, like, hey, look, I have a concept that we create. It's called no excuses.
Oh, you need a Band-Aid?
Yeah.
What you need? You need a ride?
No excuses.
You need
The only thing that matters is outcomes. That's it. And our community needs positive outcomes. Thanks, brothers and sisters. And I'll talk to you
Friday.
On Friday.
We'll be back Friday, same time, same station. You've been listening to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice. Peace.